let me set up a scenario for you. It's the heart of winter, the PLL season ended with the Archers winning it all, and you're desperate for some lax. The sun goes down at what feels like 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and that seasonal depression is hitting especially hard lately. Then you turn on the TV, browse ESPN, where something catches your eye. It's lacrosse. The best players in the world and some of the most recognizable names from even the PLL are out there. It's fast-paced, the fans are crazy, and the NLL exemplifies how a home city-based lacrosse league can work, and it works really well. Even with the first game I watched this year being the complete beatdown of my Colorado Mammoths, I still loved every second of the games I watched. It's such a different pace and type of lacrosse. My name is Ben, and today I wanted to talk about the NLL and hopefully convince some of you to give it a try, because it is awesome. Before we get into it, I wanted to say thank you for all the support you guys have given me. If you haven't already, drop a like and subscribe, as I just hit 100 subscribers. Again, thank you guys for the amazing year and support that you've all provided, but let's just jump right into the video. So, I, like many of you, am a big fan of the outdoor game. That's what I played, and at least in Colorado, indoor lacrosse as we call it, I know many Canucks are going to call it box lacrosse, it's not as big as the outdoor game. But let me tell you, the indoor game is electric, and some of these fan bases are super enjoyable to watch. It's just such a different feel from the outdoor game, and at least to me, a needed breath of fresh air. I watched every game this past weekend, which included the Panther City Lacrosse Club versus the Vegas Desert Dogs. Now, those of you who aren't familiar with the NLL, where do you think the Panther City Lacrosse Club is located? Florida? That's a good guess. Maybe Louisiana? Also, good guess, you're getting closer. They're based out of Fort Worth, Texas. Like, what? Why? I don't get it at all. I wanted to include this because it does show that the league isn't perfect, and the Panther City Lacrosse Club's attendance illustrates this even more. It's abysmal. Just a total miss on their marketing as a whole. No hate to the Texans that watch this channel, but this may have been a reason why the PLL was a little hesitant to put a home-based team in the state of Texas. Now, believe me, I do believe it is coming. You can watch my video on PLL expansion. I firmly believe Texas will get a team at some point here in the near future. Again, no hate to Texas, you guys have big Tex in the Alamo, so we're all good in my book. One thing that also stands out in the NLL is the lack of Midwest teams. But like the PLL, they will likely add one here soon. I can especially see it happening somewhere in the Great Lakes or Ohio area. It's just a matter of time at this point. Who knows, maybe the Panther City Lacrosse Club, maybe the Vegas Desert Dogs, maybe a team like that gets relocated out there to the Midwest and you can really have a full league all across the entire country, because that's honestly what's missing at this point. It's also just nice to see a league that is very well established and has committed fan bases. There are absolutely teams who struggle with attendance. The Desert Dogs and the aforementioned Panther City Lacrosse Club are some of them. But for each of these teams, there's 4 or 5 with these passionate fan bases. The Roughnecks, Mammoths, Seals, Rush, and Wings have been my favorite to watch so far. The energy is great and the fans are really committed to their team, which is something, if you're familiar with lacrosse, that is lacking in leagues like the PLL. Home cities will likely help this though, and I'm optimistic that we can have 2 great lacrosse leagues in North America in the future. Not that they already aren't great, but the PLL in my opinion still has quite a ways to go to really establish itself. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the PLL, but the NLL just does things so right in most areas. For instance, the championship round of the playoffs is a 3-game series, which I believe finds the true best team in the league. It's a nice mix between hockey and the standard 1-game playoff series of the NFL. For over 30 years, the league has been doing stuff like this. The NLL even has a licensed Fanatics store, which is great in contrast to the PLL store, which seems really delayed and kind of irritating to order from, but maybe that's just my experience with it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. So for those of you who don't know, and disclaimer, I did not realize just how many teams are playing in this league. There are 15 teams in total. In the Eastern Conference, these are the Albany Firewolves, the Buffalo Bandits, the Georgia Swarm, the Halifax Thunderbirds, the New York Riptide, the Philadelphia Wings, the Rochester Nighthawks, and the Toronto Rock. For the Western Conference, we have 7 teams. The Colorado Mammoth, my favorite, best all time, totally not biased, the Calgary Roughnecks, the Las Vegas Desert Dogs, the Panther City Lacrosse Club, the San Diego Seals, the Saskatchewan Rush, and the Vancouver Warriors. There are some great brands in here, and I remember going to see the Mammoths play the Roughnecks all the way back in 2015. I'll put the picture up here if I can find it. I remember going for my birthday, my dad took us. It was a great experience, and I still have awesome memories of going to these games as a kid. What you probably also noticed about this list is that there are a lot of Canadian teams. I mentioned it a little at the start, but box lacrosse is a much bigger deal in Canada, which makes sense. It uses the same arenas as hockey teams do, and there's some carryover there. Part of the reason it's gotten so big is it started as a substitute for hockey over the summer months when ice could never stay frozen. And on top of this, many NLL teams are owned by the same group that owns the local NHL team. Crazy crossover, and if you're interested, I highly recommend diving more into this history. It will not disappoint. Like for instance, the Buffalo Bandits and the Rochester Nighthawks in the NLL are owned by the Pegula family. If that name sounds familiar, they're the family that owns the Buffalo Bills in the NFL and the Buffalo Sabres in the NHL. Crazy that one family owns all those teams, and it's also even crazier that the most success that their ownership has seen is from their lacrosse team. The Buffalo Bandits have been dominant lately and won the most recent NLL championship. Can't say much for the Buffalo Sabres, the Bills, or even the Nighthawks. So that's a bit of interesting history there for you, and as you think about the league more, it just makes sense on why it would be so big in the Great White North. If any of you guys are interested in catching some lacrosse this winter, check out ESPN Plus. For $11 a month, it really is worth it. I am not sponsored by them in any way, but I've been enjoying my subscription, and it's not super expensive to get all these games. And especially once the winter is over, summer rolls around, you'll have access to every PLL game as well. So it is Lacrosse Hub. It really is a great time for lacrosse as a whole. We have a ton of access to the PLL and NLL, and I know that was a huge priority of Paul Rabel when he founded the league, was to increase access to these games so you can watch them from home. So if you can't attend, you can still have access to watching lacrosse every weekend, which is perfect. That's how we're going to grow the game. This is even more especially true if you know the struggle of trying to get NFL games or NHL games with 5,000 streaming services just to get access of the one game you care a week. It's ridiculous. So this is honestly a breath of fresh air in that regard as well. Let me know below your thoughts on the NLL and if I'm a latecomer to the party. As I'm writing this, I have the Seals and Bandits game on, and the stadium is packed. It's the Bandits banner hanging ceremony, and I've never seen an indoor lacrosse stadium this full before. What an energetic environment. It really is special, and you're missing out if you aren't watching this every weekend this winter. I have loved kicking back and enjoying some quality lags. Hopefully I've convinced some of you to give it a try, but that's all I have for you fine people. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe before you head out. I greatly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one.